Welcome to the Resilience in Complex Environments podcast, known as RiCE, brought to you by Rocky Road Resilience. I'm your host, Colin Howe. I'm accompanied by Armoured. On the show, we meet extraordinary people whose work takes them to the limits, physically, mentally, and geographically. And today we've got Jay. Jay, tell us about yourself.
Where to start, really? I'll start probably 2001, I guess. 9/11 happened. I was in school. I was doing really well in drama, actually. I was actually aiming to be an actor. 9/11 happened, and then everything went sideways, and thought I'd need to join up and do my thing. Did that. 2 years later, I went to college, end of school, where...
That's where we met, right?
Tutor called Colin, yeah. So done that and then joined RiMe. Was there for a number of years. When I left, it was during the recession, and great timing for me. But yeah, 2010, hit the recession, managed to get a job in the south working on WMICs. Remember the old WMICs? Upgrading them, changing them from manuals to automatics. It was still mechanics, still military, so it was absolutely fine to transition into. So I did that. There was a short spell where that finished and the new project hadn't started, so I jumped over to Kuwait for a bit, for about 5-6 months, working on US tanks that they were selling then to the Iraqis. Did that, then came back, built all the Foxhound project. Don't know if you remember the Foxhound. Done all them as the team leader, right at the end of the build, so doing the test, the driving, checking the brakes, all that kind of stuff. Done that, and then joined Jankel and was there for a good about 10 years, I think.
So what did Jankel do?
So Jankel they started as coach builders. They built like stretch Bentleys and things like that. I think it was Robert Jankel was the guy at the time, the big founder. Really, really nice. Andrew Jankel was then the guy that I knew as the boss. They moved into CAVs by then, so civilian armoured vehicles like Land Cruisers, things like that. And that's where I came in. I started at the bottom, working on upgrading brakes, suspension, things like that, and spoke to another RiMe guy there who said, do I want to go to Ghana with him for a couple of weeks, do a job? Like, yeah, absolutely. So off we went, done that, and then from there you decided, do you know what, you could probably do that quite a lot. So I jumped onto the FSR.
FSR?
So field service rep. So yeah, basically a flying spanner. Fly into countries, do repairs, do warranty, services, that kind of thing.
But this sort of specialist vehicles like
I was still on the armoured vehicles, that's right. For everyone really, embassies, royal families, special forces. Really good stuff.
And then that's taking you to where you are today, and you've got a company called Cerberus.
That's right, yeah. So a couple of years ago, Jankel's no more, it got bought out. I had left at that point and started Cerberus as an armoured vehicle consultant, really. It was also CP. I'd done my CP course, luckily, about 6 months before it was made redundant. Started doing the odd jobs here in London, really interesting. It's quite a hard environment really to get into because it's quite saturated. So many people doing CP now. And then if you say you're military, you get a little bit better sometimes. Sometimes I don't want military, so it was quite hard to get into. Did a couple of good jobs, a couple of long RSTs, residential security. They were really good. But noticing that it's quite a tapped environment, I moved back into my niche, a company up in the Midlands as a consultant, just passing on my knowledge from the Jankel vehicles, and just basically my knowledge from CAVs itself. And then that's grown since then, working with a company in Dubai as the trainer really. So I'd be going off to whatever country they need to, learn their vehicles, go off and train, teach the end users how to use it.
So it sounds quite luxurious, you know, you're shooting off all around the world and rebuilding armoured vehicles for celebrities or for defence? What is
yeah.
it?
So it's mainly things like embassies and things like that. So it's less glamorous than it sounds.
Still a glass of champagne in there somewhere.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, probably
in a lounge somewhere. Yeah. It's less glamorous. It's embassies, flying in at night straight to a hotel, couple hours sleep, straight into an embassy, 10, 12 hours, jump on a plane if I can that night. If not, sleep and jump back out again. So I don't get to see much of the countries, a couple of borders, but that's about it.
Okay, yeah. and for our listeners, when you talk about armoured vehicles, I guess the big question is, what type of vehicles, what does it mean to have armour, what's it like to be inside one? They're probably the big questions.
Yeah, I mean, the vehicles are much the same. We don't do anything to the engines themselves. They're
what type of vehicles are they?
So we use a lot of Land Cruisers. They're sort of our bread and butter. They're 4.5 litre V8s. They're strong engines. So even with the extra weight of the armour, we change suspension and brakes, but we don't need to do anything to the engines. They still shift. They still brake well with the new brakes. Body rolls sorted with the new suspension. So yeah, they're much the same, and the inside is much the same. So we strip them down to the metal, bare metal, fit armour, and then rebuild it, trimming everything inside so it looks the same. Just it's just moved in a couple of inches. So it looks the same, but not. You'll notice it when you open a door and you're like, oh, hold on a minute. Yeah,
it's a little bit chunky.
There's some weight on this. Yeah.
I mean, some people that know me or cringe at me sort of saying this, but I'm going to say it more for the people that don't necessarily know. Are these things bulletproof or what?
Yeah, there's certain levels.
You're laughing because you know that's a stupid question, right?
But nothing's bulletproof. But yeah, definitely bullet resistant. There's levels, isn't there? There's levels. You can have what they call a B6, which is like a level. You get a lot of these. There's a company in the Middle East I've worked with. They call it hijack byjack.
Okay, explain that
so
one to me.
It's basically they've armoured at the base level armour into like BMWs, Mercedes and things like that, and it's to stop hijackers with pistols basically. So they're driving along, they're about to get done, and they try and shoot the window. It's enough to stop a pistol. Yeah. So that's just like it's a simple upgrade. I say simple. There's modification to doors and things, but yeah, it's simple in terms of the big ones. All the way up to what they call VR7s and VR9s, which then start thinking of AK-47s and RPGs to a degree.
So you're going into different environments ultimately. You're going from places where it's a little bit tasty, where somebody might get, carjacked or pulled out of a car for personal belongings, to ultimately environments that perhaps we would describe as hostile.
Yeah, exactly that. So it all depends on the environment as to what their requirements are, and we work from that.
When you were in the military, you would have had to work with a lot of the vehicles that came in under urgent operational requirements, and they had to be adapted as well, presumably, depending on the environment. Some of them famously weren't, or infamously weren't, geared towards, Iraq, for instance, and think of the Snatch Land Rover. But then some of them were, you've mentioned already, in terms of the programs that you worked on. It's often in the UK, when people think about defence procurement, they often think of some of these big ticket items that don't really work as intended, or perhaps they aren't really that relevant. Were there any of the projects that you worked on where you saw like a certain growth in a number of breakdowns, or things that were happening to the vehicles, they just weren't suited for the environment that they were sent to? Or is there anything that you could share with our viewers in terms of like the basics, in terms of how the military take ownership of a new fleet of vehicles, and where the common problems are, and why they have to then change them?
Yeah, I mean, there's vehicles where sort of top level have a list of what they want in a vehicle, but when you actually speak to the users, half the stuff they're like, we don't want that, we want this, it's like almost a completely different list, and you sort of need to look at the vehicle itself and decide, maybe we can add this and we can take that one off, and we have a discussion back and forth to try and make a vehicle as best for the user but still in cost as what they're after. But with that, yeah, there's programs where some of the jobs, some of the tools on the vehicle, they could have been done probably a bit better with more money, more engineering and stuff like that. But when you're working to a budget, things are just as they are. They still work, but they can always be better, you know. It's like buying an Audi trainer and a Louis Vuitton trainer. There's some differences. They still work, but...
Yeah, they do slightly different things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just extending from Aaron's sort of question, I'm guessing from that sort of time, you've seen an evolution of armour. And, from my limited knowledge, ballistics have changed in their specification to sort of say, this is a B6, but yesterday's B6 isn't necessarily today's B6.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of each level and what exactly they cover and how that's changed over the years. I don't know too much on it, but there's certainly ways that we do things where, let's say, for instance, the old armoured vehicles were just bolt-on pieces of armour, and if they get hit, they get hit, and then we added bar armour, for example, to try and mitigate that. We added V-spines, so instead of vehicles just going up, coming down and having the spinal injuries that you had, they would roll the vehicles instead. Thing is, we had vehicles that then rolled into muddy puddle ditches, and guys were then fine, but they're in water, muddy, can't find the doors, and they end up drowning. So then we added things like lights that came on when water hit them, so lights out the door so you can see, oh, there's light in that direction, I'll swim that way. So there's always something
being added to
it, just to make it as best for the user as possible.
And going back to Aaron's question again, when you look at what you were working on, early 2000s, when you first joined the army, to what the army have today, what are the big significant changes that you've seen in your space in regards to the protection of soldiers?
I think the technology itself, the technology of vehicles themselves, so coming from snatches in Northern Ireland all the way up to mastiffs, really, that kind of size. There's a lot better armour, there's a lot better protection in that sense. Yeah.
And the technology?
Technology-wise, yeah, I mean, you've got ECMs on the front, so you're causing little bubbles to stop IEDs, at least going off
so an
on
ECM,
you.
Electronic countermeasures.
Yeah, my life's acronyms.
So, young guy, started college. You were a student of mine.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that. How was that?
It was good, actually. Yeah, I didn't want to join up at 16. I wanted to wait till I was 18. So college was the obvious choice. I could have gone to work, but I thought I might as well get some more sort of training, sort of pre-training. I did public services. It was really good, actually. Yeah.
So public service being?
So it was learning all services, really. So military, blue light. Yeah, it was really good, actually. So we did things like, so this was down in Chichester. We would do things like, there's a flood in Chichester, how do the police and the fire respond to it? And we'd do like big table events where we're moving things around, like a command centre. So that was really good. And then down to the military stuff, we'd go down to Portsmouth to the Navy, and we'll do evacuating ships and training with them. Then we'd do adventure training, did loads of adventure training, which was really good. Probably can't say too much of that on here. But yeah, it was very good. And you learn that sort of proper camaraderie from then, really.
So is that what geared you up for joining, or was 9/11 more of a factor?
9/11's where my brain sort of changed from I'm going in this direction to I need to do something in the military. I wasn't sure what. I'd done college as well just to try and see what was there. Still wasn't sure what, but when I went to the training, what's it called? The sergeant in Chichester. Can't remember his name.
Recruiting office.
Recruiting office, yeah, that's it. When I went to the recruiting office, those guys were RMP, so naturally they sort of steer you to that way, which is where I did start going towards. I'd done phase 1 and went to phase 2 in Portsmouth for RMP because I wanted to do close protection. So that's where that was going. I had a couple of fallings out with a sergeant there. His attitude towards regular army wasn't in line with what I thought, so I left there. There was an intake for RiMe. I knew a little bit about cars. I thought I'll give that a go. So I ended up there and been doing it ever since.
So fell into it, really.
Yeah, really.
So,
yeah.
Okay, and several years of that. You know, and that obviously steered the next step.
Yeah. Went into military vehicles down south, then up here and Coventry and abroad. Yeah, everywhere. I'm still in military vehicles. Really, it's just I did do a short stint of about 2 months in a civilian car garage. It's the people and like the what we're saying, the atmosphere around it, the way people sort of speak and things like that. It doesn't really align 100%. So you're like, I need to be with more military-minded people. So I ended up going back into this.
Fantastic.
And just in terms of resilience, so I mean, working with these vehicles, the people that use them, the end user, if you like, that you've mentioned, I mean, they have to be really hot in terms of being trained on these things. I know what I've gone through a number of training courses over the years, the safe courses, and where, you know, opening and closing the door is quite an epic adventure. But I mean, these things do keep people safe when they travel around overseas. Have you come across anywhere in your travels where the vehicles have really made a difference to people's ability to get out and about and do their job, where they really rely upon them?
Yeah, I mean, the place where I saw them most used, embassies are embassies, they travel between embassies and things, but the vehicles we had in Pakistan were probably the most used. They're UN vehicles, so they're really being utilised. Still armour protected. They were Land Cruisers, but an older spec, the 70 series. They look a bit more local, because they don't want to stick out, but obviously they've got big UN stickers on the side.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're really good. They could reach further with the 4x4, but still be safe in their vehicles. Yeah.
Wow. Pakistan is quite a challenging environment. It's got a lot of things going on, and it's always, in terms of the environment that you find yourself in today with your company, have you noticed any differences in terms of the demands on you and your skill set?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think there was. Obviously, I knew there was other armouring companies and things like that. I thought they were all quite similar to Janko in that they're really self-sustained. They've got their own field service mechanics, trainers, all that kind of thing. But it turns out some of them don't have that part at all. They're like a through life bit. They sell the car and here's a manual and off you go type thing. So yeah, when I reached out to a few of these guys, the sales teams and things like that, they were like, actually, yeah, we've got a space for that. So I've then become that person they go to. Yeah, it's been quite busy. The last 6 months has been quite busy with bids and that.
So the roles ultimately outfitting, servicing, and training, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, and training will be everything from familiarisation just around the vehicles. This is what the buttons do, all the way down to mechanical. This is how you take all these parts off, and driving as well. So we do another training course now, teaching people like UN how to drive them, but also in the event of a breakdown, for example, what to do, because they just get out and flag someone and then they could be kidnapped or something, depending on the areas. So yeah,
I'd imagine changing a wheel on an armoured vehicle is not easy to do.
It's not. It's doable. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Everything's a bit heavier, but yeah,
Okay.
it's. But you want to be doing it quickly and safely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but then you've also got run flaps, right?
You got run flats, yeah, but they're not designed to then do 100 miles.
Yeah.
It's 50 miles at 50 kilometres an hour, so it's a slow get out of here. But also, if you're if you're doing 120 down a motorway and then you get a sudden flat, that run flat could potentially come off as well.
Wow.
They're not built for just holding on there. Yeah, so it's things like that they don't think about.
Brilliant. So
Yeah.
brilliant. Best vehicle you've ever worked on? Armoured.
Yeah. I can't say too much
Best
about it.
vehicle you would like to work on? There we go.
I'd like to have a look at these Armoured. They do the Mercedes AMGs, the G63s.
See, I thought you were going to say
I want to try them.
Donald Trump's Big Beast or something. It's
I'm not interested in that.
no.
No.
So go on, tell me about the Mercedes.
They just look nice. I think they look really nice. I know that I've seen them in London and stuff, and they are quite small. So armouring them must be tiny inside. But they still look nice, and I still want to have a go on them. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, armoured limousines and things. That's definitely something. Definitely something.
So I've been speaking to friends. Round hitting a windscreen
Yeah.
that's armoured versus a mallet. How does that work?
So the glass is, you've got glass
And what we're talking about here is
polycarbonate.
okay. Around these windows are built around rounds hitting them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But then if you have a mallet, it's a different type of impact, and sometimes that can do quite a bit of damage.
It can, but it's more surface really on things like that. You'd have to be hitting it for quite some time to even make a dent on the inside of the glass, because they're quite thick. They're a couple of inches thick. Yeah, so even hitting them with a mallet, you can break the glass on the outside, and you might break the glass and the next layer in, but there's 5, 6, 7 layers thick.
Okay, so when a round hits, it's fracturing the top layer or two.
Yeah, it hits the glass, the polycarbonate will absorb it, hit
Yeah.
the next glass, and then it will absorb in each one.
So if another round hits local,
Yeah, I mean we do tests where they shoot in a triangle in areas like vulnerable areas, you could say, like corners of windscreens and hinges and things like that. And yeah, they have to pass a test to then be classified. Yeah, you can hit three in the same bit.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So, what's the next step for you and Cerberus, and what's the passion?
I mean, I just want to keep on growing. More training, more companies. Get back out to as many countries as I can. I want to see every country.
Okay.
It's quite difficult. When I was at Janker, we did, I think, 56 countries in 2 years.
Wow.
That was a good stint.
Wow.
That was a really heavy time. My manager at the time had just left, so it was just me doing all the travelling, and we went crazy for a bit.
Wow. And most interesting places you've got to?
A surprising was probably Beirut. Actually, it was lovely.
Okay.
This is pre that dock bombing,
Yeah.
explosion. But yeah, it was lovely there. Absolutely beautiful place. Lovely people.
Okay, and number one place you'd like to go to?
I'd like to go either Far East. I've never been sort of Hong Kong way, Japan, Philippines, that kind of way, or South America. I haven't hit South America yet.
All right, well, let's get it advertised, shall we?
Yeah.
So, brilliant. Aaron, any more?
No, I'm good, Colin.
Jay, that's brilliant, mate. So,
Yeah.
legendary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you.
for
Armoured vehicles.
Yeah.
So, love it. Not really.
Yeah.
Cool.
Amazing, mate.
Oh, man.
Cheers.